You're listening to Planned Brotherhood, the brother of all podcasts, hosted by Nick and PJ. Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated in any way, shape, or form with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is the registered trademark of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated. So suck it.
Go!
So I guess we should just tell the Tim experience.
I was going to do my Tim impression first.
Oh, okay.
Hey, guys, what's up?
It's a pretty good one. It's not so aggressive. It's more like, hey, guys, what's up?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Hey, guys, what's up?
How do I make people know the sound of gross facial hair? I didn't know this was going to be a mean one. This is so fucked up that I started this way.
This is not mean.
We've mentioned him before.
Yeah.
Plenty of times. Tracy, who's been on the show before, our uncle, it's his son. Did he disown him? I don't know if he ever came clean about that.
I don't know that he officially disowned him. He definitely says he doesn't have any children. And Tim didn't really want to talk about it. We recorded an episode with Tim and felt it necessary. It was such an experience.
You didn't explain that we recorded it, but people haven't heard it yet.
Right.
It's actually our next episode, I guess it will
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason for doing this is because, not that we have to prepare you for it. I don't know how exactly to explain it, because we were nice as we could be while he was there, but not because, at least, and this goes back to our childhood years when you would invite Tim over to spend the night, thinking it'd be a fun idea. Come on, we can make fun of him. It'll be cool. And then after 2 hours, we're utterly sick of him.
I don't know if I was ever quite that mean. Like, he'll just come over and we'll make fun of him.
No, I mean, I think your heart was in the right place even at the time.
I genuinely
but you always forgot that you couldn't stand him after 2 hours.
Yeah. And
do you feel like it's any different now that we... How long had it been since you've seen Tim before this one we just recorded?
Probably going on... 8 years, something like that. No, that's not true, because I was married and my wife and I hung out with him at a casino.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we invited him to go out drinking.
On blackjack?
No blackjack playing, just lots of talking and asking people for cigarettes. I didn't smoke at the time. He asked every single person in that casino for a cigarette.
Have you ever asked somebody you didn't know for a cigarette?
I asked this lady one time outside of the Tacoma Dome, and she gave it to me, but she was real fucking reluctant to.
Yeah, I'm usually reluctant, but I only give cigarettes away to people that look like they could afford it, and they're just like shit luck day something.
Right.
Or they just broke up with their girlfriend, I assume, you know.
Right. This is not how they keep up a pack-a-day habit, is by bumming them off of everybody.
No. Especially when you're wearing a nice Nehru.
Yeah.
That's a jacket.
Okay. So... Is that the way you felt when he came, that you were sick of him? I don't even want to go this way. This is what I thought about the Tim episode, and by that I mean the experience, the episode. Mm-hmm. When he showed up, I was like, wow, he looks exactly the same. This is going to be interesting. But he is so far different from us. We were pretty
from most people.
We were pretty far apart from him when we were kids. And
even though you guys are how far apart in age? I'm sure we cover that in the upcoming
just a few months, like 4 months.
He's always been kind of removed from the family too.
Yeah, he's just kind of like the same old guy, and it's weird to have a family member who's like, it's that different. Like, it didn't go at all the way I thought. I still expected the kind of funny things he did and stuff, but when we put that microphone in front of his face, it was just like, I don't know. He had no idea what a podcast was.
No, but he was really excited. Like,
he was
not to sound like an asshole,
out.
But yeah, he was really excited about the prospect of coming to see us because it had been too long. And I thought it was going to go great. And I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I know you haven't even listened back yet, but it's fine. He just doesn't really make more than surface conversation.
Yeah, and then
or mourn his dead sister. I didn't even say that as a joke. I'm saying that that's what the things he wanted to talk about, and that's fine.
Not
and
really,
he gets his
though.
chance.
He only
Episode 70.
he only talked about that as much as he did anything else, which is not much. And that's why, like, especially during it, I was feeling like, oh man, is this like we're picking on him? Because with Barry and especially Tracy and Lori and stuff like that, like, you're talking about family and it's so easy, and you just kind of like have a weird memory or talk about something that used to happen.
And right out of the gate, there was a great memory that Tim had.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we thought
I thought it was going to go
yeah,
so smoothly.
But then after that, like, anytime you'd be like, what's your thoughts about that? And he'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I don't really know about it. Like, he is pretty far removed from our family, which is weird because he's like, oh, I love them so much and blah, blah, blah. But he has no idea really what's going on with
Everybody
anybody.
knows the 2-hour limit rule with Tim.
I think it has to be something, I don't know, because he was talking about, like, our cousin Tiffany and how she was mad at us, and we thought he was talking about you know, that whole Facebook thing.
Episode 61, we talked about it, yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out he wasn't, and we're like, oh, what was she mad at us for? He's like, no, this was like 2 years ago. We're like, oh.
Why was she mad at us 2 years ago,
what was
by
she
the way?
mad about? And then he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe she wasn't. like what? And it was hard to get him to elaborate on anything, or...
It's true. He was a tough shell to crack.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave in that huge pause, by the way.
He was always kind of a hypochondriac. We definitely get to see some of that. I don't know what this episode is. It like a warning?
It's coming across that way, but that's not. I don't know what the point is either. I just feel like if we don't give a decent enough explanation, people might not, dare I say, get it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we could use this chance to tell Tim stories if we had any. Do we even have any?
I have a recent Tim story. As recent as 3 weeks ago when we recorded with him.
Yeah, okay.
Because we didn't know how it was going to go. And again, I'm going to stress that it's a decent episode.
Yeah,
okay.
And I had fun hanging out with Tim.
I didn't, but that's not the point. I thought the show was going to go great because he doesn't drive. Has he ever had his license?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Probably better than having your license and now having a suspended license.
He was when we were teenagers. He was just kind of content with the way it was, and didn't have any plans to like get his license or to move out from home. I'm not to say he's never lived away from home, but it's still like that exact thing. Like, you know, he just, it's almost like there's something that doesn't say like, oh, you know, I'm getting older, I should do this now. There's nothing like that. He's just content. He's surfing life.
I don't know. He always seems like there are some things that are pissing him off. Politics, usually.
Well, yeah, things make him mad. I think this night
goddamn Republicans.
It was, yeah, but that was the thing too. Is there was that story about him going off about Republicans and saying things.
The only reason I'm not expanding is because I'm pretty sure I told it before.
Yeah,
but the Cliff Notes is that he memorized some Lewis Black and some David Cross and offended my stepdad with it.
You're being really mean to Tim.
I'm sorry.
You really are. I have to say, you're like, this is a trash talk episode.
No, it's not.
What has life taught us lately?
What did you think would happen when we said, let's talk about Tim?
I thought we were going to tell Tim stories.
Okay, well, I got one. Let me get back to it.
Okay, it's probably mean.
Pushing my buttons. No, it's not mean. I just thought I know what to expect more than you because I happened to run into him maybe 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And we hung out for the evening
around the time
spontaneously.
Tiffany was mad at us.
Yeah. So I knew that his beard was looking the way it was, and then he got off the bus because he's never driven and he had a skateboard. But I thought,
listen to this.
No. It's going a nice way.
You're not being mean. I remembered what his beard looked like, and he got off the bus because he's never driven.
Okay, so I recognized him because of his beard.
Okay.
I have a suspended license. I'm not one to talk.
Yeah.
Except for I'm against the bus, pollution and whatnot.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say, it's really cute because he spots us from across the street and is waiting for the crosswalk, and he's super excited to see us, so much so that he throws down a skateboard. He skates to us.
He skates on over, yeah.
And then he was instantly hungry, and I was too. We went to Dick's, we ate like assholes, and then we recorded.
Yeah, and that's a pretty funny story too, and I don't think mean. It's lighthearted.
This is the one I was going to tell, but I was afraid you were going to accuse me of being mean again.
Well, it's along the lines of like when we were talking with Ashley about the nice dog.
Our cousin Ashley, yeah.
He just he tries to get with people on a level just that I'm not comfortable doing, and I'm not saying that it's bad that he does, but maybe I don't
But
know.
you and I, we're on the same level.
We go to the Dick's guy. We go to Dick's Drive-In because we're in Seattle. Got to go to Dick's
Institution, sure.
Yeah. And this guy couldn't be trying to get the line moving fast enough, and Tim will like throw out a joke, and
Oh yeah, what was his joke?
and it doesn't get heard, and then he'll say it again with the same inflection.
You don't think it gets heard? Really?
Well, the guy literally was like, "What?" Like I remember he used to.
And
do
they
that.
do have like the bulletproof glass at Dick's between the customer.
And he used to do it, especially like when he would bomb a joke as kids or something like that, like throw his arms out and just get all kind of frustrated and be like, never mind. But that's what it was with Dick's. It was, I mean, it just started like, let's just have a dialogue. Like, these are the cheapest hamburgers I ever did see, and whoa, slow down, man, you're working too fast. You get paid by the hour, not by the pound. And the guy
Such energy and aspiration in his voice. I love it. It's endearing. It really is.
Yeah. And the guy goes, "What?" And then he goes, "You're quick as hell, man." And the guy goes, "What?" And then he's like, "You get paid by the hour, not by the forget it." I walked away. It's so funny.
And I was so excited to get a mic in his face.
Yeah.
And then he shut down. If this is going to be a memories episode, then I want. You tell it better than I do, but I want to remind you of when Tim was working at McDonald's in front of his manager that time.
Yeah, this was a great story. Tim working at McDonald's.
Probably 17, something like that.
It was a McDonald's really far away. Like he lived
Spanaway, something like that.
Yeah, like he lived on 76th and McKinley.
Our Tacoma listeners are loving this.
Right, and this McDonald's was like on 126th and Pacific, and McKinley to Pacific is like 15 blocks. So that's like 75 blocks you gotta walk. Like it's fucking ridiculous. So we go all
Why
the way.
didn't you work at a closer McDonald's?
I don't know. But we go all the way there to get his 50% off thing. We walk the whole way.
That's a great deal when you come by that.
Yeah.
I mean, me as a gross eater, it's a good deal for me.
And I think he was. I remember getting the vibe right away that like I think he was pretty new, but also that same kind of outgoing joking. But his coworkers weren't really the type to be receiving it well. And he was talking to his manager, who seemed kind of like hurry up. And we were sitting down already, and he was bringing the tray of food over, and one of the orders of fries falls off the tray, and he goes, "Oh!" and like
it was a joke,
and turns so bad that the next thing of fries falls off the tray, and he puts his other hand in his hair. It's like, "Oh!" and then the other fries fall over. He's like, "Oh!" and the manager's like, "Just go sit down, Tim, and we'll bring you some more."
It sounds exaggerated the way that he
No,
went,
no.
Oh. And I don't know if he's doing that for a reaction. I mean, he's definitely, and I hate to offend Tracy because we love him, but it's definitely, I think Tracy nails what Tim can't quite. Like, he wants to be his dad so bad,
Yeah.
in that Tracy could make a joke at Dick's and get a laugh or at least a smile or a phone number, you know?
Yeah, at least a smile. Tracy spent his entire career working in like customer service and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was a barista man for a while. That's
For
his
a
email
while.
address too, if you want to figure
and
it
a
out.
waiter and stuff like that.
He worked at Bananas.
He worked at Fred Meyer.
Yeah.
And he's really good at relating with people. So yeah, maybe Tim saw that and was like, I want to be like, or he's probably more the guy that's like, yeah, that's how I am. I'm super fun and relatable. Like, kind of image things. We used to watch the movie Suburbia, and he was
Which
like,
is still not on DVD.
and he was like, he wanted us to like adopt their personalities. He's like, you be Buff and I'll be Tim. And Tim was like the army guy with the TCB tattoo and everything like that.
And the alcoholism. Yeah.
So he's kind of like me in the sense of being very influenced by like things you.
yeah, but you
See.
don't take it to certain extremes, I guess.
No.
It's like
He and I both went through our fedora stages. His lasted longer than mine.
you guys switch off days.
No, it was right after me that he got into it because I sold him my fedora.
Really? That's where that came from?
Yeah, I think one time when he came to that time he came to Yakima, and we're hanging out with Nick K and Nick S, and remember that when he came and he was wearing the shirt that said "In Suck" and the fedora right when he got off the bus. Do you remember that time?
Yeah, I'm imagining a Hot Topic bag in his hand as well.
There was a point during that trip at Grandma's house that we had taken and was hiding that fedora from him. Because we're like, oh, you've been wearing it for way too long. And I think Grandma got on us, like 18-year-olds, like to give it back to him.
That's pretty embarrassing.
Like, if you know where it is, do it. Yeah, it was.
Do you think Grandma ever thinks about us anymore?
She thinks about my daughter.
You think she thinks about Tim? I have a lot since that episode.
Barry said something about that to me recently.
Our Uncle Barry, episodes 59 and 60.
Yeah, I forget exactly what it was, but something about not knowing. Oh, it was about when Tim called her when his sister died.
Oh.
Kind of the, Grandma, you better sit down for this, like that kind of thing. Like my half-sister who you might have met once. Like, it's tragic news and everything like that. Rest in peace.
It is, and you kind of knew her, too.
Yeah. Well, I used to hang out at Tim's house like every single day.
True. And we get into that.
Videos with her. One of the most embarrassing things, you know, when you think back and just something you did. Yeah, you know, like the John Favre thing with every time you wash your hair.
You still remember that?
You remind yourself.
I told you that once.
Every now and then.
Expunge it from your mind.
Something will pop into my head and I'm like, oh, I was such a fucking dickhead. And it was that time he came to Yakima, had the fedora and stuff. You know, Grandma probably...
How old were we? Did we already establish that?
I was at least 18.
Okay, so that made me 19, 20.
Yeah. And it was hidden, and Nick K came, and we hid the fedora. I think we were just getting really... You know, like that... That 2-hour window when you're like, okay, maybe it's time to separate for a little while again. We were just like, oh, we got to get away from him. And we all went to go do something. And so to get him to not go, I told him, I'm sorry, it's for Jehovah's Witnesses only.
What?
And you're not, and, you know, I was like, we're going to go.
Is that how you phrased it, though?
We're going to go to our friend's house for a dinner, and it's like only Jehovah's Witnesses. So just stay here with Grandma for a while.
Man, I don't remember that at all.
We went out bowling or something like that.
That is fucked up. So what did he do that whole time?
I stayed with Grandma.
Polished his fedora.
Yeah. Probably looked for it. We hadn't given it back yet. But yeah,
it's pretty fucked up. And I think I'm trying to remember. I mean, he stayed at our house fairly often as kids, right?
Every time I invited him.
Yeah, always you. Hey, Tim's coming over. But he'd usually get mad about things, or maybe that was when he was like more of a kid.
Well, yeah, but also when I would hang out at his house every day when I guess that's when I was 18, so we were even older when this fedora thing happened.
God.
But I would go to his house
How pathetic are we? You're going to grow up and look just like Biff Tannen.
I would go to his house all the time, and I think we talk about this on the episode with him, but me and Mikey would really kind of gang up on him, like making fun of him and stuff like that. I don't feel so bad about that later on, because at least I didn't throw religion in his face, or lack thereof.
Yeah, true.
But we were all skateboarders, and like he would buy a skateboard, but like never ride it, like just carry it around with him. And
I kind of feel when he got off the bus, I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah.
Until he skated to see us. But.
Well, I mean, he was like skating around, but he's on one of those longboard, mountain board things,
right?
And which is cool for like cruising down the streets of Seattle, I guess. Like I wanted to ask him, hey, can I hop on? But you
didn't want to embarrass yourself.
There's something with his eyes. Like I don't know what's okay with him anymore.
I
didn't want him to be like.
Well, hold on. What do you mean eyes?
I don't know. He had kind of crazy eyes.
You're not. Are you saying that because of?
No, I said that before Sam thought that.
Yeah, our friend Sam met Tim briefly and commented on his eyes as soon as he left.
Yeah,
and not because he's falling into them.
But I just can't imagine, because he talks about. I was asking about an old friend of mine and his. And he said he sees him at the skate park when he goes skating at the skate park. And I'm like, man, how annoyed must the other skaters be at you when you bring this longboard, mountain board, ruining... Like, first of all, you're taking
Plus,
up...
let's be honest, he's almost 30, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure a lot of them are. But he's taking up like 3 times as much room as anybody else. And I'm thinking falls down a lot gets in the way.
I don't know. I didn't see him fall at all. Whenever I see a skateboarder, which I see every now and then in Seattle, and it's usually the longboard, I don't know. I wish that I had the interest or the coordination to do it, but maybe I do. I'm good at Rock Band, it turns out. Like I just have to
Skateboarding is pretty fun, but I can't do it. The other day, I was skateboarding on Gabe's skateboard in the 2nd Street parking lot. He was skateboarding around with big, like, Incredible Hulk feet on that would go.
That guy is such a weirdo, and most of the time in costume. Why has not Gabe come on the show yet?
When he pulled that skateboard out of the trunk and had his monster feet on, he goes, "Hey man, you want to skate wearing a banana suit?" And he's got a banana suit in his trunk.
Did he work as like a children's entertainer?
No, I think he just sees costumes.
He just comes across costumes. What was we've commented on this before, but
he was a lion
during a poker game.
And weirdly, I think that's what like turns people off to him. Like at that poker game when nobody liked him.
And we were sure your wife would hate him, but she liked him.
Yeah, she was the only one who did, surprisingly.
He's the only one as of now, because your friend Andy refuses to do it, that I think would do it, could do it, and should do it. Gabe should come on the podcast as a guest.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many Yakima people left I want to talk to. I've already met and invited to the show all the ones I liked.
Yeah.
That's not about Tim at all.
No.
Wait. Gabe and Tim were brothers.
They kind of... I think Tim would like Gabe a lot.
Do you think Gabe would like
How's
Tim?
that for a segue?
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I think Tim would. I think Tim would be like, see, that's how I am, Mr. Personality. I do shit like that wearing costumes all the time.
Although Gabe turns people off in the same way Tim does. At least some people,
Yeah,
you know.
that's what I'm saying. They're similar. Tim would say, oh, yeah, I'm that guy that wears costumes. And you go, oh, what's the last one? Well, I've never done it, but I'm gonna now. I wrote a song once. It went through, I think my song went like this. We used to run through the halls, get slammed into the walls, but now we put dye in our hair and shit in our face and anything else that keeps with trendy pace. That was the song I wrote, right? So then, and I basically wrote
What was the name of that song?
as like a burn.
Did you write it on a piece of paper and then burn it immediately?
Come on. I showed it to Tim, and he really liked it, and it was mainly about him. And then like 2 seconds later, he's like, oh, yeah, you know, well, I'm really a songwriter. I have a guitar, and I'm going to learn how to play and stuff like that. And he's like, this
Having
one.
a guitar isn't quite yet.
And it's like, you're cool because you wear combat boots, but you're really just some fruits. And I was like, that's just what I wrote. Stop it.
Oh, great
It's
memory.
all about people dressing trendy.
Man, you're really jogging my memory. It's awesome. When I was, I don't know, probably 12 or 13, and I was drawing cartoons all the time like I wish I knew how. And I taught Tim one time how do I explain this? Okay, when you're drawing like a cartoon character and then you got the short sleeve, you draw that extra circle to let people know that there's a, you know,
Right, like
and
the
you shade it
curve
or
in
you
the
don't.
sleeve.
Yeah. So I taught Tim that one day because he wanted to be a cartoonist too all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then like 3 weeks later, he was back over at our house and we were drawing again, and he taught it to me like it was news.
Oh, he's like, hey, I got this cool thing you can do with short sleeve.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I taught you that. I don't know. I heard it somewhere.
Yeah.
Turns out that story wasn't that great, but I had a good time telling
It
it.
was a pretty good memory. I remember playing the Crash Test Dummies video game, not CD, at his house once. on
There was a
Super
video
Nintendo.
game?
Yeah, and him and his stepdad got in a big screaming match during it, and we were spending the night at the time.
His
too, so it
stepdad,
was awesome.
interestingly, is the one guy he did open up about on the show.
Yeah, yeah. I guess he did quite a bit.
Yeah, more so than anybody else, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I really thought, going back to his recent visit, I know he didn't know what a podcast was. He'd never heard it before, so there wasn't that worry. But we let him know, like, your dad's been on the show before, so, and he said some stuff. So if there, and not, I sound like we're trying to rile him up,
Yeah.
but we're just letting him know that this is an open forum. You know?
Well, it all started.
Do you think that's intimidating?
No, on the phone with
Because we kind of did the same thing with Ashley and Caleb, but at least Ashley opened up quite a bit.
on the phone with him. He said. Like, what are we talking about? Like, oh, you know, we talk a lot about family and stuff like that. And he even made something like, uh-oh, I better watch what I say. I was like, well, no, you don't have to. You know, we like being pretty honest and stuff and everything like that, whatever you want to talk about. And he goes, well, I'm not going to say anything about my dad, that's for sure.
Oh, he brought it up?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, really? Why? He's like, well, he is my father. So when he got there, we're just letting him know. Like, he acted like he was mad about it, but like couldn't talk about it out of the fatherly respect. But we're like, if you want to, man,
Doors
no
open.
big deal. So yeah,
But it didn't
I guess
really
we're
happen.
goading him.
And I told Tracy
No, he
that.
didn't want to talk about anything.
Tracy, who's basically unwilling to talk to his son, really wants to hear the episode now that he knows we recorded it.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting, and I'm throwing it out there because I know Uncle Tracy is listening. You want to make another appearance on the show? You should come on with Tim. And my
But see,
my suggestion to you and to Tracy also was that we get Tim on the show again, and this time he's feeling more comfortable. He knows kind of what it's about. He knows what our setup is, and then we sit and talk to him for a little while, just about bullshit, whatever. And Tracy, his dad, is waiting in the closet and jumps out, like to capture that on mic.
Can we wait till June when it's Tim's birthday and he's in the birthday cake? Like, no, we thought beforehand about like, oh yeah, you know, this is gonna go good, this is gonna be hilarious, and then we'll get Tracy and Tim on together. But no, I don't even want it. Tim doesn't talk. He doesn't talk.
He might if his dad was there.
I don't think so.
All right.
Because why wouldn't he have otherwise? Even before, like when we're not on mic, he's like got stories and I want to talk about this, talk about that, and we had to do that thing that I hate doing when there's like a silence and we're like, so what about this? Do you want to talk about this? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And he'd be like, oh yeah, I do, and he'd say something,
Alaska.
and then just trail off
Yeah.
and be like, oh, sorry, I'm high.
He
And-
did keep apologizing for being high.
Yeah.
I don't think I apologize enough for being high on the show.
Yeah. So it's just hard to pull a word out. And I think it would be the same way with Tracy and Tim because
I think Tracy would have a lot to say.
no,
and
I don't think so. They
not
have,
show offy, but just like
No,
now it's time.
I think they have nothing to talk about to each other. They don't even know each other.
True. Not because Tim doesn't want to know him. Tim's dying.
I don't think Tim cares at this point.
It sounded like he cared.
No,
Well,
I disagree.
I say you haven't listened back to the episode yet.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to remind everybody, episode 70, it's next out.
He lives in
You'll
the,
know exactly what we're talking about.
He lives in the same neighborhood as Tracy. He lives like literally 4 blocks away.
I know, and remember, it was kind of sad when he got there and we were prepping for the show, and he said that he'd recently, I assume, gone skateboarding past his dad's house.
He told me that on the phone, I think.
Oh, okay. In any case, he knows where his dad lives. Tracy's lived in the same place forever. We'll give the address in the show notes. But he went by, and I guess Tracy's truck wasn't there, and the lights were off, and he asked us if he had moved. Like, he's that far disengaged from his own father. And not that we have...
Yeah, but
Why are you laughing at me?
I'm just saying that a lot of people are at this point in their lives.
Well, we're trying to be.
And it's not like he went by longingly. He's like, oh, I cruise. But he asked us that. And
I kind of took it as longing.
No, he's lived there for years, and he's been by there one time, and yeah, doesn't know if he's there. It's not like he's standing outside his window all the time. I'm telling you, man, Tim's content. Like, even when Tim is angry about
Then why
things,
does he bounce back and forth from Alaska and...
Because when Tim is passionate about something, it's fleeting, and when he's angry about something, it's fleeting. Like, in the end, like, he's just going to land wherever he lands, and that's fine. He loved his time in Alaska. He loves his time in Tacoma. He loves his whole family. He loves his dad despite everything.
Yeah, you're right. He's a very loving guy.
Yeah, he's just... he adopts a lot of passions and feelings and stuff like that, and just kind of lets them float away.